Yes, here we go. P.M.P. I've got to wear shades to hide my tears because Celtic failed in their latest attempt at a treble. It would have been 6 out of the last 9 years. You can't win them all. That's what happens. Terry, Rob joins me. First time in a wee while. Terry, how are you? I think
I know,
a couple of pints of milk today.
You've been dodging me. You've been dodging me a lot recently.
I know.
I think that just sort of just confirms what all the regular watchers on the bus were watching. It was that I just got the better of all our arguments, and you've just sort of dodged me. It's like
that's it, mate.
No, it's like a boxing where certain fighters, you've got the best fighter, and then you've got the next sort of best fighter, and the next
Mayweather dodging Pacquiao for years.
You just dodged me. You've dodged me. Phil's come in. Phil's done an absolutely amazing job. And to be honest, I'd rather do the show with Phil because he's a lot more structured. He's a lot more educated. You're just scattergun firing punches. I can deal with scattergun firing punches. What I struggle with a wee bit is somebody that's a wee bit more structured, who's got a plan for the fight and all this. And Phil's
fair.
That. You're just in there swinging, and I can defend against that. I can deal with you, no problem at all. No, I'm okay, Bhoycie.
I think you're right.
Yeah, of course I'm right. I'm always right. I'm okay. How are you? How are you feeling after that? I'm all right.
I wasn't bitter at the end, which I think's always a good feeling. Like you know when obviously you want to win, but sometimes you can feel like really, agitated and sore about it. I didn't feel any of those things today.
That's good.
I thought
that's good.
Did I think Aberdeen played well? No. But I countered it with thinking to myself, did Celtic deserve to win today? I couldn't say yes to that either. Celtic were not good enough today to warrant being frustrated or feeling injustice at not lifting the Scottish Cup for what would have been the 44th time.
Sixth treble in 9 years, and all that stuff that every educated supporter of Scottish football and pundit and writer and everybody told us all week this was a done deal, this was a treble, Aberdeen had no chance. Any Celtic minded
go on
broadcast, whatever you want to call it, broadcast, anything I've seen from a Celtic, dare I say, state of mind, put it out there that this was not a done deal. This was a one-off game. This was something that could go either way. The mainstream media, all the main newspapers in Scotland, everyone just thought this was a done deal. And now I, like you, like millions of Celtic fans across the world have now got messages coming through from people you haven't heard from for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, who support teams that weren't anything to do with today's match, are now firing through messages, taking some sort of fucking boost from today's game. The only people that I seen put any realism ahead of today's game were Celtic fans who were going, this isn't a gimme. This isn't a formality. This is a one-off game. This is probably the second best team in Scotland over the whole season if you measure it from start to finish. But yeah, everybody wants to jump on and now pile on. It's just like your social media pile-on where everybody who's got no business in the argument jumps in just because they think this is an opportunity to kick somebody.
What did I predict again?
You predicted a 2-2 draw, and I will give you 95% accuracy rate for that because it was a 1-1 draw. The fact you predicted a draw gives you the fucking the tick on this one. And I know we
just a wild swinging punch, mate.
No, it wasn't a wild swing, Bhoycie. It wasn't a wild swing. I'll give you a few examples over the last couple of weeks. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0. Manchester City, huge favourites. Newcastle 2, Liverpool 1 in the Carabao Cup. Liverpool, overwhelming favourites. Spurs 1, Manchester United 0. I don't know how, but Manchester United were overwhelming favourites for that game. I've scribbled something else down, but I can't fucking read what it is. So I don't know what. Actually, Celtic versus Rangers in the League Cup final where Celtic were overwhelming favourites, but it took penalty kicks to get us over the line against an absolutely abject Rangers team. And then I've wrote something else down, and I, honest to God, it probably made sense when I wrote it, but it makes no fucking sense to me. It's just a load of shite. So where I'm going with this one is recent examples, and we seen it in the Bhoycie Bus chat earlier, and I will name him. Conor Carr goes 6-1. When in the last 10, 20, 30 years in any cup final across any league in the world have you seen a cup final where a team wins by 5 goals? There probably is a few, but there will be very, very little. And there'll be very few that win by 4 goals. There'll be very few win by 3 goals. There'll be some that win by 2 goals. But cup finals are tight matches decided on small margins, and a well-organised team set up not to lose can, over 90, 120 or 120 plus penalty kicks, can get a result. And just to kick off, before we do the whole thing, we get into the whole thing, I would just like to congratulate Aberdeen and Jimmy Taylor on winning the Scottish Cup for 2025. I think it's a wee bit ironic because I think Aberdeen's start to the season would probably have meant that they should have won the League Cup, except we beat them 6-0 in the semi-final. I think their start deserved to win something. But the fact that they won the one at the end, which was at the end of the worst period over the whole season, where they were probably in the last 2 or 3 of the whole league. But that's football. That's the way life goes. Sometimes things happen when they're not supposed to happen. And sometimes they don't happen when they're meant to happen. Aberdeen's early season form was superb and was deserved of winning something. And they got nothing. They got an absolute spanking by us at Hampden Park. We beat them 6 that day. We've beaten them 5-1 since and 5-1 since again. But today, when everybody least expected it, they got the job done through a management masterclass in stopping the other team and chancing your arm, and they got it over the line. And I think over the whole season, Aberdeen deserved to win something. Was it this one? No. Was it the league? No. It was probably the League Cup. But over the whole season, they probably deserve something. And I'm not going to sit here today and go fucking crazy on how Celtic have blew a treble, because you know what, Bhoycie? Trebles aren't easy. Everybody across the Scottish mainstream media and supporters of other clubs that aren't involved in league titles and stuff have been going on about how trebles are easy when you've got all this money and when you're this, that, and the other. Trebles are not easy. They don't happen in other leagues. They don't happen anywhere else. They happen in Scotland because Celtic have managed the club so superbly over the last 20, 30 years, even when other teams were cheating and doing this, that, and the other. So trebles aren't easy. We've done 5 and 9. We wanted 6 and 9. We didn't get it. But do you know what? This season, 2024, 2025, has been highly successful for Celtic Football Club. We didn't get it done today. I totally expected we would do. We didn't. Fair play to Aberdeen. I take my hat off. I think they deserve something over the season. Jimmy Taylor has took the learning from the 6-0. He's took the learning from the 5-1. He's took the learning from the next 5-1 against the second string. And he has come up with a game plan and a team and a formation and a way to get a game to penalties where it becomes a game of luck. And then their penalties were absolutely superb. Every single one of their penalties were fucking 10 out of 10. 3 keepers wouldn't have saved them. And I just go on record. Congratulations, Aberdeen. You got it done. We didn't do anywhere near enough to say that we deserved it. We were hard done. I don't feel hard done by. If we had absolutely bombarded them and they fucking sneaked it, I would have said, yeah, do you know what? Feel cheated. Nah, I don't feel cheated. He's come up with a game plan. He's got it done. We didn't do anywhere near enough. That's on Rodgers. That's on Celtic. That's on players. That's on us as a club. That's on whatever you want to put it on. But I congratulate Aberdeen. I'm a fan of Scottish football, and I think they deserve something this season. And I don't feel cheated in any way. I'm happy to sit here and go, we got a double. Aberdeen got a trophy. I think they deserve a trophy. I really, really do. And fans of other clubs who think they can jump on and get in the back of this, fuck off. It's nothing to do with you. You weren't here the day. You weren't nothing to do with the league title. Go and fuck yourselves. It's nothing to do with you. That's just to do with the big clubs.
Well, you say that. I mean, I think a lot of the things you're looking at is the bigger picture, which I can understand. I don't quite relate those.
This is the day you look at the bigger picture. This is the end of it. This is time to reflect.
Yeah, of course. But I think, like, when I look at it, like when you're comparing it with Crystal Palace winning an FA Cup, or you compare it with Spurs winning the Europa League, or whatever, year of the underdog stuff doesn't work for me, right? I don't really get that, because there was a 90-minute game of football there that's what we're kind of to be focusing on.
Right, okay, focus on how does it not work? Crystal Palace against Man City, how does it not work?
No, because for me, I'm talking about the 90 minutes I just watched, Terry.
Yes, I know, but how many Crystal Palace players would get into Man City's first team if you were picking it?
Right, I don't have a clue, because I don't care about Crystal Palace and Man City.
None. How many
Aberdeen but we're not here. We're not.
Celtics team? None.
Right, again, I'm just going to go back to the point. I want to look at the 90 minutes that we played, right?
Yeah.
And I do get you're trying to be philosophical about it and the bigger picture stuff, and I get all that. It's not a bad trait to have, Terry.
My fucking optics broke. The last day of the season, my fucking optics broke off. Look.
That's how often it gets used.
My optics broke. Hang on. Can you get rid of me a second to fucking sort this out here?
Oh,
my optics broke.
Right, okay, bye, Terry. That could be forever. No, I'm only kidding. But I think for myself, I just look at the game, the 90 minutes. Celtic were against a team that was so unimpressive for me, particularly first half. And I think, to be honest, once we got within a lead, we had decided we'll see this out there beat because they were offering very little. And of course, it was a cross that Schmeichel's decided to palm into his own goal that costs us. But that's the risk you take when you've only got one goal advantage. Rest of the time, for me, to be honest with you, Celtic should have been out of, I don't know, what gear would you all say we were in? I felt it was second gear a lot of the time. Was the football bad? Not necessarily. But was it aggressive enough? Absolutely not. We thought that game was in the bag today. We took our eye off the ball when it came to actually capitalising on a 1-0 lead, making it up, doubling it, trebling it, dare I say. And instead we got fucking caught out. That happens, man. That's life. But for me, I don't really make any comparisons to FA Cup finals or European finals that we're not in. I watched a game of football today that Celtic, had they played even remotely close to their potential, should be able to take care of the opposition I watched today that I wasn't particularly impressed with. That's just the way it was, man. Do you know what I mean? That 90 minutes, Terry, we were nowhere near our best. But we could have been. Because the team we were against, I don't know what their best level is. I wasn't impressed with them at all.
Am I on again?
Aye. That's your face.
I get that. I totally get what you're saying, Bhoycie, right? So cup finals are all what happens on the day, right? And everything that's gone on in the season to date will lead people to decide what they think is going to happen in a cup final. I read out those games earlier just as an example of upsets that can happen when there's a favoured team going into
again. Just to clear up, I'm not interested in that bit. Please give me a look at see the 90 minutes we just played there. Did you think that was a game we could have played better on?
Right. So how long a minute?
10 minutes on it, man.
No.
I'm being real here. Okay, I'll play it.
Hang on 1 second here. You haven't appeared on Post Match Pish for about 6 weeks, and me and Phil have chewed the fat, and we've kept the wheels running in this bus for the last 6 weeks when you've been nowhere to be fucking seen. So just you hold your fucking horses and let me talk when I want to talk. Are you happy enough for that?
No problem, Terry. You run the show, son.
You're coming in and you're starting to dictate the rules here. That's never been a part of this, Bhoycie. It's been fluid. We go whatever way it goes.
Terry.
Some days you've had a few drinks, some days I've had a few drinks, and we argue back and forward. But for you to start dictating to me when you haven't been seen for light or dust for 6 weeks, I ain't having that. I ain't having it.
But Terry, I'm just saying, like, what about the game?
I'll tell you what you do. Go and bring Liam Collo or some of them boys in and see what they think about the game.
Do you know what I'm talking about the game now?
I'm only joking, Liam. I'm only joking, Bhoycie. No, I know you don't want to talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about today. Okay. I'm happy. Let's do today. We were fucking pish. Absolutely pish. So let's do what we normally do, Bhoycie. Bring it back to the starting lineup. Kasper Schmeichel, yes or no? Some people thought Phil Janney done enough to get in. I never thought that was going to happen. I thought Rodgers was always going to go for Schmeichel. Is that the right decision? You can probably argue that later on, because I think today was Kasper's biggest mistake since he signed for Celtic. The only other one that I could put forward was the one against Rangers, which you didn't agree with, if memory serves me right. I thought he was slow to get down to Hadji's shot. Today, I thought he was fucking pish for that one. I just have to say it. He was pish. Is it a mistake I can forgive? Absolutely. Is it an old aging goalkeeper on the wane? Probably. Is that the reason we were able to get him? 100%. You just have to take it. He was always going to be the keeper. He's made a mistake. He's fucking ballsed up.
Did he go for flair, do you think? Do you think he went for the... I felt like the way he's tried to, like, volleyball it style away... I think he's went for a wee bit of like flair. Just get down and protect the ball.
I just think he's fucked it. He's fucked it, Bhoycie. He's fucked it.
It's a one-handed kind of. Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's like a one-handed sort of forehand attempt at it. He's misjudged. Hits the inside of the palm.
Are you talking from a football or squash player perspective here?
No, but if you look at what I'm just talking about, what he did with his arm.
He's
like,
just
the way
he's what he's doing. I've no idea what he's doing. He's a fucking. He's a man near 40 years of age with fucking hundreds of caps for his country and won a Premier League title.
And he has been immense for
no idea what he's fucking doing.
It's weird, eh? But it looked like what he was doing.
No idea what he's doing.
It looked to me like to go for that one-handed. It was like he was going for the big glamour punch out the box with one hand. He's completely misjudged it.
It's the first time, Bhoycie. It's the first novice moment he is showing.
Correct.
Since he signed for us.
I agree.
It's happened at the absolute fucking wrong time for us.
No, I agree.
And if you look back over the Joe Hart period, where we got a waning Joe Hart, and he had great moments, but he had moments like Kasper had today. Joe Hart had one of them every 4 games. That's the first howler Kasper's had since he signed for us. The Hadji one, I blamed him. You didn't. It's probably a 50-50, 60-40 moment where it's one I think he should have saved. It's one you think he shouldn't have. But today was a howler, and that's it. And it just happened to be in the cup final, and that's the way it goes. Over the whole season, he's been not 100%. He's a 99.9% success. Yeah, today wasn't his day. I ain't gonna fucking jump over Kasper Schmeichel for that one. There was
just the incident itself, though. We're just talking about that in isolation. Again, you're doing the bigger picture thing with that, but it was weird, wasn't it? It was the cross. It wasn't even on target. Weird thing. Do you know what I thought was weird as well? See the tactics they've adopted for that penalty shootout was to go top bins to the same corner. Because they obviously don't think he can make those. They obviously don't think he can make those. And I'm like, that's proper faith in your players though, to be able to actually execute that. Do you know what I mean? Because in that sort of environment, with that sort of pressure, and to be honest, his pedigree as well, when you're facing that, he does have presence about him, an aura. And they've all went, yep, that's the corner to go to, top bins. I was impressed that they had the courage of their convictions to do that. It was impressive.
I think that's a plan.
The cross itself
I think that's a plan. I think that's a plan that has played out. Okay, so let's give Jimmy Taylor all the credit here, right? So we've got the 6-0 in the semi. We've got the 2-2 at Celtic Park, where he's come out and they're top of the league along with us. They're on their crest of a wave, and they've gone 2-2, and they might have gone 3-2 other than a disallowed goal. They've gone toe-to-toe with us. Then we've absolutely slapped their arses 6-0 in the semi-final. Then from that 6-0, there's 2 5-1s after that. So Jimmy Teelan's gone to this game going, how can I turn around a 16-2 aggregate over the last 3 games? And this is what they've done. And I don't have any problem with it. I'm totally comfortable with it. So Celtic are the team with, and I'll just break this down to a really simplistic, this is the way I look at it in my head. Celtic are the team who have got people who are skilled to build the house. Aberdeen are the team who have got people who are able to knock down houses and destruct them and hammer them into the ground. And those two forces meet, and it's one against the other. And the harder thing to do is to build a house than it is to knock it down. So I couldn't build a house because I've got absolutely no skill in that. But if you put me in a bulldozer or a tractor or give me a sledgehammer or put enough vodka into me and give me fucking some kind of instrument, I could knock bits of a house down, or together we could knock a house down. And if you've got a team trying to knock a house down against a team of skilled workers who are trying to build a house, that game will probably go in the favor of the people who are trying to knock it down, because it's so much easier. Fuck off, Libby. It's so much easier to knock a house down than it is to build one. And Jimmy Teelan has gone for that example because that is the only way he can see his team lifting the trophy. And I credit him for that, because if he'd gone out to go toe-to-toe and try to build against us, we would have outbuilt him and our house would have been done by halftime and their house would have been...
So you generally think that was a tactical masterclass from Jimmy Teelan today?
Yeah, I do. I think he's gone out. No, I don't think it's a masterclass. I don't think it's a masterclass because I think it's what...
What do you think for the Celtic point of view?
I don't think it's a masterclass. I think it's the obvious thing that anybody does.
What do you think from the Celtic point of view?
Can I answer the first one? I think it's the obvious thing if you're the manager against Celtic and you've got a one-off game and an opportunity for you to win silverware. I think it's the obvious go-to where you think, right, let's contain them for as long as possible. You break the 90 minutes down, you break it into 9-10 minute spells, and you think we get to the first 10 minutes, then we get to the second, then you build the momentum. Their momentum is built in 10-minute spells of survival. 10, 10, 10, 10. Then before you know it, you're 60 and you're going towards 90. And they've been practicing penalties. Do not tell me that those penalties, of which 4 or maybe 5 all end up in the top fucking corner. Do not tell me they have not practiced that all week, right? So their game plan all week was our best chance of winning this cup is to get it to penalties, and we put every single fucking one of them into the top corner where this 40-year-old man has no chance of getting them. That is their game plan. And they carried that out to a fucking T.
And the penalties, yes.
Plan would have been, get through the first 10. If Celtic will start fast, they'll try to kill us off. They'll try this thing in the semi-final where we killed St. Johnstone in 24 minutes, and they did it against Aberdeen in the semi-final where Aberdeen held on for 30 and then we killed them in the next 20. They would have just been breaking that down into 10 minutes, get through the first 10, get through the next 10, get through the next 10, get this towards penalties, then all the momentum's with us, hang on, get the penalties. Penalties is a 50-50. It's a 50-50. I don't care what two teams are involved. Penalties is a 50-50. And Aberdeen's plan from the start of this match, from about 5 weeks ago, would have been get this to penalties and let's chance our arm. And I fully fucking just go, Jimmy Teelan, well done, you got the job done. Now let's turn it on to the Celtic side of things.
Let me just come back to you. I think you're absolutely right in the sense that if it went to penalties, they clearly did have a strategy for that. No two ways about it. But when they get their goal, it's not even from a shot. So that strategy that he had, in theory, probably would have fell on its face by 90 minutes, or 97 minutes as it turns out to be, had our goalkeeper not made that mistake. So this tactical sort of clever move. What I don't like... let me finish. God, no, I've given you about 15 minutes each time you've spoke, so don't just let me finish, all right? So when it comes down to it, right, a game always has a sum of moving parts. At no point did Celtic then adjust to, if you can see that Jimmy Thielen, now by Mystic Terry over there, that he wanted to play for penalties the whole game, well, sound. We've went 1-0 up, make it 2-0, and give them no choice but to come out of said game plan. We stayed in second gear at 1-0 up. My total vibe from the management staff to the players was we thought we had them beat. And we never really ramped up through the levels that we've seen the last time we played Aberdeen only 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago. We didn't see that level today ever approached by Celtic. We thought we had them beat. So what you do in a game is, if, as you say, you could see that this is what Jimmy wanted to do, sit in, just try and cope, hopefully hit something on the break. If we can get it to penalties, we've got a top corner strategy to go. Awesome. That's amazing. But Celtic still are there live in that time to influence events. As Celtic never changed, mate. Celtic were dull today. Never went through the gears, as I say. Never played with intensity and purpose to get to 2-0. I felt Celtic's biggest problem was once they went 1-0, they believed Aberdeen were done and were beat and were hanging on for dear life. If your Jimmy Thielen theory is bang on, might be, that's up to us to be reacting to that in live time. That's up to us to be proactive, not reactive. And I think that cross, when they get their lucky break, Schmeichel fannies about, they get a goal out of that. I think then that's what karma does to you when you're complacent. When you're complacent in a game of such magnitudes. And I think Celtic, for me, thought they had all the dots on the I's, all the crosses and the T's, all sorted. I think they thought their name was already engraved, and they never went and pushed for the definitive second goal, which puts your penalty shootout theory absolutely to bed, because they then have to come out at you, and potentially that game then does become 3-4-0 for Celtic, because we used the pace in behind. But we never looked like we had that urgency to get a second goal. That's what I think killed us today. Not, again, no offence, but if you can see what you think Jimmy Thielen's tactics were, and I think based on the penalty shootout alone, he was definitely hoping and praying, if we get to penalties, we've got a fucking master plan here. We've got to see through that in live time as well. Because Terry Robb isn't Celtic manager. Brendan is. And if Terry Robb can see it, Brendan should be able to during the game. And we never changed. It didn't feel like we changed our dynamic, our approach, our intensity, and our purpose going forward. That frustrates me. And I think once we were a goal up, we thought we had them done. They'll not come back. Because let's be honest, how many shots did Aberdeen have on goal up to then? That cross that goes in. Was even a shot they get their goal from. I think there was just a wee bit of complacency there for me, that we didn't think they offered us enough threat for us to go that next level, go that next gear. And I think that's came back to haunt us. And do you know what? That's a big lesson learned.
Okay. I think we're on the same page as much as we're approaching it from... I think we'll meet in the middle here. I was approaching it from an angle of congratulating Aberdeen for winning the Scottish Cup and Jimmy Thielen for finding a way to get that done. And I think that is warranted because that's what's happened. However, if we spin it the other way, should Jimmy Thielen be finding a way to beat Brendan Rodgers? 100% no. Should Aberdeen be finding a way to beat Glasgow Celtic in the Scottish Cup final when all the aces are in our hand and they've got nothing? Absolutely no. From our point of view, it's an awful result. I'm happy to congratulate Aberdeen. I genuinely do think they deserve something for what they've put into this season in Scottish football. There's a lot of other clubs that think they're big.
Cares about all that
They've
stuff,
absolutely contributed nothing. But let's pin it down to today's game. Celtic did absolutely nowhere in enough to win that game. Brendan Rodgers was passive when Jimmy Thielen's tactics were proven to be successful. He didn't do anywhere enough. I know he made changes. We were 1-0 up and he still made 3 changes at 60, 65, which made me feel he wasn't happy. But did he get the reaction that he wanted from them changes? No. The guy that caused the equaliser, forgive me if I've got his name wrong, Shaden Morris. I'll go the other way on Jimmy Tillon. I've absolutely no idea why that guy, Shaden Morris, didn't start the game, because I don't watch Aberdeen, but I watched them against Celtic, and I've probably watched them a few times against Rangers from a sort of sneaky...
You're going away back to the other team
again. A sneaky dogging point of view where I'm just watching something just for the sake of it. But I would have thought that guy, Shaden Morris, is more than good enough to start for Aberdeen.
But who cares about that bit? Who cares about that? We should have been 2-0 up.
He was a threat.
But we should have been 2-0 up by the time, 3-0 up by the time he came on, had we put our foot on the pedal. But why do you think we didn't then? That's kind of what I'm trying to get to for the Celtic point of view.
I know,
why do you think it never went to the levels? By the way, when we played them at Bustalgia 10 days ago, so impressive how professionally...
Hardly any of those players who played today, by the way.
Agreed. That's a very good point as well. But the attitude and application was still there. You would expect a Scottish Cup final. That's not really even needed mentioned. Yet, why do you think it felt like Celtic were content with a drab match at only a goal difference? A goal's never enough to be sitting resting on your laurels, Terry. Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know, Bhoycie. I don't.
You've got to talk about Jimmy Tillon again instead.
I don't think you can sit here and go, we were happy with that. I think you give Jimmy Tillon credit that he set up a team to frustrate and hang in there and look for a piece of luck, and that's what they got. I think you have to give him a certain degree of credit, but then you've also got to counter it. We've got a manager who is way beyond anything that any team in this league could attract, and getting a wage that is reflective of that. And you would expect that any of those managers that come up with a potential solution, he should be able to come up with something that supersedes that. And today he couldn't. I mean, the fact he made the 3 subs on the
when you say couldn't, what do you mean couldn't?
He couldn't do it. He couldn't find a solution to make us go on and win the game comfortably when we had all the ball.
Because we weren't surely aggressive enough in our possession. How many shots on goal were there? How many? No, and the team. That's what I'm asking you. I'm going, it's a conundrum to me where there was a lack of urgency to go cement the result. Very unlike us when we're 1-0 up to go, that'll be enough.
But it's the same like that watching it. We've got a 6-0, a 5-1, a 5-1.
Yeah.
So everybody, there's a collective responsibility there. Manager and players.
I'm agreeing with all that. Yeah, do you not think it was unusual in a final environment?
I'm just a drunken dickhead on a podcast. I can't answer why a team that won 6-0, 5-1, 5-1 suddenly becomes shite.
That's not what I'm trying to get at, Terry. I'm just saying, as an observation, watching it, it did feel unusual that Celtic team that is known for being full throttle when it matters domestically. Appreciate that there's been a few derby bad results, but we have beaten the best of the rest.
That's cup final football, Bhoycie.
But that wasn't cup final football I watched today.
It is.
Thought that was cup final football.
How come Crystal Palace beat
Man City? He's going back to Crystal Palace. I'm going to die.
It's the same thing, Bhoycie. Look across all the leagues in Europe. Seriously, man. Look across all the leagues in Europe over time. Cup finals, the better team does not always win a cup final. How did Wimbledon beat Liverpool?
But our level today was nowhere near us being
I get that, but
substantial better team.
It's a one-off game. If you don't turn up, the other team takes the cup and they fuck off home, and that's it.
I think you're being very general about it. You're generalising almost every point.
No, I'm not.
You are, though, but the specifics of the game. I was talking about the specifics of the game, though.
The best team on paper wins the cup and they go home. The match has to be played. You've got to win it. And if you look back over time across all the leagues all over the world, the best team does not always win the cup final.
Do you think we were the best team today?
And the team that turns up wins the fucking cup.
So are we the best team today? Are we the best team today?
We weren't the worst team.
I agree with that. Did we deserve to win the final then?
We were the best team. We were the best team.
Second question, did we deserve to win?
We didn't do enough to win.
We didn't do enough to win.
But we were the best team.
To get to.
We were the best team.
A team that is serial winners, has won the league by how many points? Have won the league by this year? 20, 21?
100,
No,
200,
I don't want to deflect to domestic Scottish stuff. Let's talk about Crystal
Don't
Palace.
bring in
the
teams
point.
that are
I don't bring in
this.
league table. Don't bring in Scottish football. Let's talk about Palace. What I'm trying to get at is
I'm giving you examples from other leagues. I take it back to the COVID season when fucking dickhead teams were winning leagues all over Europe.
but the point I'm trying to make, and I agree with Nirak who's came in. Thank you for watching. Passing was too slow, no urgency. That was my exact vibe. Vibe.
Was there any passing or any urgency?
That's what you're saying. It was too slow. No urgency.
I'm agreeing.
Right, but this is the point you seem to be just completely deflecting from every time you talk about it. And then you say, I've no answer to that, but you've got a million answers why sometimes cup finals
what you
get
want
lost.
Me to say is Celtic were shite. I can
That's
100%
not what I'm saying.
say that.
Mate.
Shite Celtic should also be beating Aberdeen. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I'm talking about the performance today. My biggest concern is Celtic not showing the same appetite they have when the league's already sewn up, when they go to Pittodrie and smash them and keep going for more goals. We were 1-0 up in a cup final, which actually has an outcome that defines lifting a trophy, a treble. And for some reason, we didn't show that same application, that same urgency and purpose and desperation to get a second goal. That's what came back to bite us. And my conundrum is, where's that came from? It's been very unlike us.
See today's performance then. Does that remind you of the performances against Rangers since January?
But no, we're always behind against them. So
I think today's performance was similar, where we're getting into the game thinking there's absolutely no way we're not going to win this. We're clearly the better team. Everything points to us winning this, and then we just don't turn up. Because apart
once you get the goal in front,
what I'm trying to do today is,
if you're a goal up, Terry, listen, mate.
Yeah,
when you're a goal up, that's where I'm getting confused, because these games you talk about, Rangers, for example, then we get the leads. I'm always convinced Celtic then capitalise on that. But we've actually been in those games not turning up for minute one. In this instance, this was a game where I thought,
that's a fair point.
Look, Aberdeen are offering nothing. We've now got a goal for a corner kick, which we never used to do, remember? But it was at the right time.
And a deflection, which we never get.
Which actually injured his shoulder when he went off the park. I don't know if you noticed Dorrington holding his shoulder. It must have been some heavy ball that went in the goal. But after that, that's where you build from. And we just seem to go, job done. And that's my biggest concern, because never do you see or associate that with a winning machine. You don't normally associate with a team that I watched literally play Aberdeen 10 days ago with more determination to get a fifth goal when you're 4-1 up in a league you've already won, than a second goal in a final that's still in the balance. That's where I'm confused.
Do you not think that performance that we've seen today, and I know you want to focus on today's game, but I genuinely do think this is an apt observation. That performance today is reflective of about 25 to 30% of the performances we've seen this season, where we've gone into a game expecting X and we've come out of it with Y. And we can't really explain why, because we've got the better players. We are clearly the better side. All the momentum's with us. But for whatever reason this season, we just haven't been able to get it done. And I don't want to turn this into a negative, because this season is winning doubles is a fucking positive. And no matter what anybody says, this has been a successful season for Celtic. But there have been moments where you've just gone, what the fuck have I just watched, right? And today just happened to be one of those where you've just watched it and you've gone, right, absolutely everything is in our favour here. There's no player in that other team that will get into our side. They're just sitting there trying to contain us. Just go and get it done. And we haven't been able to get it over the line. And if I honestly, hand on heart, reflect on the whole season, and I know you don't want to reflect on the whole season, but if I reflect on the whole season and go, have we been at our blistering best where we deserve a treble? do you know what? We probably haven't. We've probably been short of that. And does one team other than us deserve to have won something because of what they've put into Scottish football this season? Yeah, they probably do. And is that team Aberdeen? Yes, it probably is. And as much as I'm disappointed, I turned up today. I didn't turn up, and do you know, I was laughing earlier actually because this is the anniversary of you and me talking about last season's cup final, obviously, and there was another Celtic pod that wanted to laugh at us because we're not season ticket holders, and that means we're not Celtic supporters, and fuck them. But we are Celtic supporters, and we hurt, and I'm hurting. But do you know what? I don't feel over the whole season we've done enough to be treble winners and be in the last whatever it was of the Champions League 16 or whatever. I don't feel this season has just hit that pinnacle. I think it's been a really, really strong season. I think it's been really, really good. But I just think there's been enough holes in it for us not to get all of those things over the line.
There's not been enough jeopardy.
Today that came to roost. Today that came to roost.
Yeah.
And if you dice with jeopardy enough times, sooner or later you'll get caught. And today we got caught. And I genuinely mean this. I think Aberdeen's game plan was get this to penalties. And I think their penalty kicks just tell you all you need to know about what their game plan's been for the last 4 months. They were absolutely perfect. Every single one of them was. You could have had Kasper Schmeichel, Viljani, fucking Joe Hart, and anybody else you want in there, and you wouldn't have saved any of them fuckers. Do you know what I mean? And
I think that for me is so impressive that they had literally a game plan for the penalty shootout, which was so brave.
But that's fair enough.
Because
yeah.
I'm saying I think it's so impressive. I said to go. It's going to be top bins to Schmeichel's right. That is that's 3 out of 4 penalties were top bins to Schmeichel's right, and you're absolutely spot on, Terry, in the sense of that's definitely determined, planned. There's no way that's left like that's something that's just
that just hasn't happened.
No. But to actually execute it, you've got to give them kudos. Of course you do. And one of the things, of course, that benefit that is us getting to take the first penalty and missing it. And when you miss the first penalty, that gives such a lift to the other team. So that game plan that they've thought out, that they probably all looked at each other behind Jimmy's back and went,
"You've a guy shaking himself. You've a guy shaking himself, and all of a sudden he's going, I'm cock of the north here before he even gets up."
That's exactly my point. Yes, that's what's probably given them the confidence. But
fair play to Callum Bhoycie, because too
right
often
thing to do.
I've said in this show too many times we've had penalties in key games, not this season but previous seasons, and I have felt this moment is a moment where the captain should take that ball and take that penalty kick ahead of whoever, Kyogo, Hitati, Adam Ada, or any other fucking whoever the fuck else. In previous years, I felt there was moments Callum McGregor should have took responsibility and he didn't. Today, he did take a responsibility and it didn't work out. And do you know what? It broke my heart standing there watching Callum McGregor cry, because he has nothing to cry about. He owes us nothing. But I just thought there was a wee bit of irony there, because there was a bit of irony because there was penalties over the last 3-4 years where I felt I want my captain to go up there, take responsibility and get the job done. And he didn't do it. But today he did go to do that and it didn't fucking work out. That's just the way it goes. Callum McGregor owes you, me, Celtic, nobody, nothing.
No.
He has nothing to feel fucking ashamed about or worried about. I don't give up, Alex. But it should never have came to that. We didn't do enough. Jimmy Taylor had a plan. He executed it. His players executed it. They took the learning of the last 3 games. Brendan Rodgers should be experienced enough and have the skill and ability to overcome an Aberdeen manager who's trying to just claw his way towards extra time for 120 minutes. I don't feel the manager,
the players take responsibility.
The manager and the players did not do enough to get that job done.
I seen a lot of similarities for Celtic towards the end, particularly in extra time, that scene towards the end of the Europa League final midweek, where as much as Man U, like Celtic, look like they're in the opposition half, look like, they're the ones putting pressure on, they're actually just going side to side. No one's got the balls anymore to go. You need to get, and Jeffrey Schlupp, of course, one of our most, a veteran, if you like, in this team. He did have the courage to take a ping, hits the woodwork. I get that, shit happens, but I don't think there was enough of, should we try and get the ball in earlier now? It seemed to be 3-4 passes safe before someone goes, right, I'll do it. And actually does, whether it's a cross into the box or whether it's a long-range shot. That tentativeness mirrored what I think I've seen midweek from a team that looks like they're dominating, but Aberdeen were quite comfortable with the Celtic team dominating. That whilst we thought they might have been beat because they were offering nothing, Aberdeen's confidence came from, well, we've given you the ball, and you don't really do all that much with it apart from tying our legs. You aren't that direct. You're not breaking our lines. You're not putting us under the fear quite enough. So we're going to hold our nerve and keep doing what we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree with you, boys.
It's weird.
It's that if you break the game down into 9-10 minute segments, Aberdeen get through 4 of them, then they concede. I don't even know if that's right, but I think
38 minutes is the first moment.
Yeah, so they concede. But then they think, right, let's just stay in this, and then you get the equaliser, and then you get to the 90, and then you're thinking, right, there's 3 10-minute segments here. If we can get through all 3 of these, we get penalty kicks. If we get a chance and we get it and we score, brilliant. That's their game plan. And we haven't, as a collective, between Brendan Rodgers and the 11 players in the park, we haven't been able to get that done. And as that ticks on and those 10 minutes tick off, the momentum and the confidence and the self-belief and the sense of opportunity within the Aberdeen players, that just grows and grows and grows. And that gives them an extra 10-15% in the tackles, in the challenges for the headers, in everything, the concentration, everything just keeps escalating, and that builds and builds and builds, and it makes it harder and harder for us to get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. Strange Love, the doctor, comes in. Great to have you in the channel, mate. Of course, on the bus. He says Celtic had the ball for just over 101 minutes of that game. If that's right, and obviously I can't double check it because I don't really read stats, but that just big Strange Love.
It won't be far away. It won't be far away.
Yet just 3 shots on target. That's turgid, as he says. And that is where too many safe balls, and I think is my wee mental aspect is, I think a bit of complacency where as long as we've got the ball, they've not offered anything Aberdeen in the sense of a threat. So even if we're not having shots at goal and actually trying to do the objective of the game, of the sport, which is put the ball in the net, it's fine because they'll do nothing back to us. And it's came back and bit us on the arse. But I agree with what Teddy said earlier. Congratulations to Crystal Palace. Congratulations to Aberdeen on winning the Scottish Cup. We are going to call it there, Teddy. This has been absolutely brilliant fun, mate. I hope your hangover's not too bad tomorrow.
No, my hangover's fine. I'm okay. I've enjoyed this season.
No worries, mate.
More than comfortable with what we've done. I'm very, very disappointed with what happened today, but fair play to Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen have put enough into this season to deserve something. I really do.
Well, fair play to Aberdeen, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.